Morning. Well, I'm feeling much better, so the rest is actually working. Now, if I was left to my own devices, I'd be getting on again. I would have thought that's enough rest, I feel better, so I'll get cracking. But I've already had a text this morning from my psychologist saying, I know what you're thinking, don't. We're not signing you off until Monday. So, so I'm going to have to continue resting. Now, one of the reasons that I take my doctor's advice seriously about the rest is because I don't like taking tablets. I don't like taking medication if I can possibly avoid it. But for years, I was on antidepressants. The first time I got diagnosed properly with post-traumatic stress disorder was, unfortunately, after I tried to commit suicide. And I think that was only because the symptoms were getting really bad. I hadn't acknowledged that they were bad. And I suppose it was a call for help. I didn't know what to do or who to ask or who to talk to. But after that suicide attempt, I was then sent to a clinic, which is where I met my first psychiatrist. And I was kept in there for almost 2 months, which wasn't a bad thing. But that's where they first of all introduced me to antidepressants. The first set of antidepressants I took was something called Seroxat. Now, if you are on Seroxat and it's working for you, then I'm pleased, but I have yet to meet anyone who's been on that particular tablet where it hasn't caused more harm than good. With Seroxat, for me, it sent me completely loopy. My personality changed, my behaviour got worse. I was having a problem with drink at that time, so that became worse. I wasn't listening to anybody, and I was trying to hide all these symptoms from people. And eventually, when I met Tim Cantifer, who I mentioned was my psychiatrist that sorted me out, he took me off Seroxat and then put me on an American antidepressant that I can't remember the name of, but that was much better. But the way I had to look at it, because again, as I said, I don't like taking tablets, is that when you've got clinical depression, there is something going on within the very ancient parts of your brain, and there's a chemical imbalance. Antidepressants can help, but you must look at it as if you had a broken leg. If you had a broken leg, somebody would put a plaster on it, but eventually that plaster has to come off, and you need to be able to stand on your leg. Now, you may always have a weakness there, but you're to look at antidepressants like the plaster. So if you like, if your brain is your leg, the antidepressant is the plaster, and eventually you should come off them, or you should try to, which is why I did a lot of work with the psychologists and psychiatrists, and I still call on them. This is 16 years after the train crash, but they're still very much part of my life. Having said that, there are occasional times when life throws a challenge where you're not going to get through with just therapies. For example, when I first caught a train again, I was completely anti-trains after what had happened, and it was just so frightening for me to have to get on another one again. So my psychiatrist at the time actually gave me these, which again is an American antidepressant, which again I don't know the name of, but as you can see on the box, it's in the event of a crisis. So although I am not on medication anymore, I have these in the cupboard. And if the worst happens for me, I can go back onto the antidepressants. Now, these work fairly quickly. Most antidepressants will take 2 weeks to build up in your body and make you feel better. These work much quicker, so I'm assuming they're a wee bit stronger. The final reason why I came off antidepressants and found alternative ways of coping with my PTSD is there was no joy. Yes, they ironed out the lows, so I wasn't going down into these deep, deep depressions where I can't do anything, but I wasn't getting any joy from anything. I couldn't taste food. My mood was completely level. And I thought, well, that's not life, is it? I want to be able to enjoy things. I want to laugh. So again, that's why I eventually came off them. But if you do want to come off your antidepressants, get your doctor's help with it, because you need to wean off. It is no different to any other form of, serious drug. you need to wean off so that they can keep checking. And if needs be, don't feel like you failed if you have to go back onto them for a while. Okay, so I hope that's of some help. I'll speak to you this evening about another support mechanism I have in my toolbox which helps with the symptoms. Okay, have a good day, everyone. Bye.